So I heard this concept when I started hanging out, talking to a lot of homeless people. Something called gang stalkers. Gang stalkers is basically a network of people that get together and maliciously fuck with somebody, right? In various degrees of messing with them. From anywhere from harassing them to trying to make them paranoid to full on assaulting them, right? Or trying to get them arrested, shit like that. It's basically a conspiracy group of people trying to fuck with other individuals. At first I pretty much thought this is bullshit. I listened to their stories and it's like it's too elaborate. It's too detailed, and it's just too big to be true. And the question always comes back to why. Why would a group of people fuck with a homeless guy? And the homeless guy telling you the story sounds like he's got like these delusions of grandeur, right? Like he's making himself to be like so important, right? Probably trying to compensate for the fact that he's got very low self-esteem and society frowns upon him and looks at him as being worthless, right? Or a burden or whatever. So, he kind of overcompensates by these fantasies, fed by meth delusions and, paranoia and schizophrenia. So I just kind of dismissed it as, dude's been doing too much meth, although I do take into consideration that a lot of the homeless people do have a reason to be afraid, because people, outside of the gang stalking shit, there are malicious people out there that beat up homeless people, that steal their shit, light their tents on fire, shit like that. So they do have a reason to be afraid. So the paranoia is somewhat justified. But the gang stalker stuff, I didn't buy into it. I thought, okay, handful of cases, group of fucking high school kids or whatever are fucking with somebody, or some people would like try to scare some homeless guy to get him to leave town or the park or whatever, right? I wouldn't consider that gang stalking. But then, right, then it happened to me. Before I was just like, these guys been up doing too much meth, get some fucking sleep, right? Paranoid, he's been out here too long. Okay, well, it's not quite the way that they described it, but it is. There are these neighborhood apps, right? One called like Neighborhood, one called Neighbor, one called like Citizen. There's a whole bunch of them, right? Those are the three big ones that I'm aware of, right? I'm sure there's more. Crime Stoppers, some watch lists, shit like that. These apps are basically a way for people to network, neighbors in an area, to get notified, and people can make posts and whatnot, right? Of like, hey, I lost my dog, or hey, somebody broke into my car, or hey, there's a Mexican guy jumping my fence and stole my fucking landscaping equipment, whatever, right? And so in a sense, these apps are kind of cool because it does allow people to kind of watch and be eyes and ears for their community, right? So that is cool until you get on their bad side. Now, and this is like serious gang stalking. Let me give you an example. I was hanging out, talking to homeless people and stuff, right? I have a pretty big van, and sometimes, sometimes I stay in it, sometimes I don't, right? But either way, the area that I was in, they did not like people camping, right? Whatever, right? They don't like people sleeping in their vans. They consider that, or and they don't like the homeless people. So they just kind of collectively lumped everybody into like, fuck these guys. We want them out of this area, right? Well, I got on that, fuck this guy list, and I didn't understand the whole gang stalking or neighborhood app thing until some dude, like, I was driving off in my van, and some dude like ran up to me and like pulled out a camera. Was like, click, like I don't know, just like a few feet from my window, right? My window was down. He's like, click, and he's like, gotcha. It took me a second. I was like, what the fuck, But then I was like, oh, I got something for him. And I reached over. I just had my camera, my GoPro, on my passenger seat. I reached over. I said, I see he was like about to walk away with a big shitty smile. I was like, hey, and he like turned back around, like, gotcha. And I just held the GoPro at him, right? And I'm like, and he got really pissed off. He was like, what the fuck? Don't do that to me. I'm like, what? You don't like to be on fucking video? I'll put you on your ass on YouTube, man. Check it out. And he got really pissed. We got into an argument about it, and it was basically a fuck you type argument, right? And, he huffed and puffed and whatnot, and, acted like he was gonna like open my car door and do something, but he didn't. Anyway, he kind of got embarrassed, and people like laughed at him a little bit. And, I drove off, whatever. Didn't think anything of it. Didn't occur to me. And over the course of the next couple of weeks, right, I started noticing a little weird shit. Like, I would walk by a group of people and they would snicker, like, that always happens sometimes, right, once in a while, but it was like, it started to happen to the point where it was like, they were doing it in a way where they wanted me to know. Like, usually if somebody's talking shit, they kind of try to hide the fact that they're talking shit usually, but I'd walk by them and then like, they'd be like, yeah, that's a one guy. And they'd say it loud enough for me to hear, right? And at first I thought I was being paranoid, right? First I'm like, oh shit, maybe I've been out here too fucking long, right? But it kept happening, and then like weird shit, like shit would like people would like throw food on my car and shit, and that shit happens once in a blue moon anyway. But it all started to happen pretty, pretty consecutively, and I started thinking about it, like, fuck, and I was like, what the fuck's going on? And then it was like, I would like drive my car or something, and like some dude would be at the crosswalk. He'd like look over, he'd kind of do a double check of my van or whatever. And then he wouldn't be on his phone, but then he'd like all of a sudden pull out his phone, and there's no way he had time to call anybody. But all of a sudden he'd be like, yeah, that's him in the van over there. He's making a left on the blah, blah. And I'm like, what the fuck, right? And then I put it together. I'm like, oh, okay, it's some weird fucking neighborhood app, right? Because I just kind of heard about these apps. But that's the gang stalking, right? And the fucked up part is I don't know what they posted about me, and it wouldn't be hard to like spin a bunch of shit about somebody, post some pictures, right? And people are stupid, man. You can take that shit out of context, you can Photoshop whatever. It doesn't really matter, right? It doesn't matter what it is, but if once you're on that list, right, it's throughout the whole fucking city. At first I thought it was my neighborhood, right? And then, but then it was like I would go to the other neighborhoods and be doing something over here, same shit would start happening. Because all it takes, because these neighborhood apps are connected, right? All it takes, even in a big city of 2 million people, there's probably 10,000 people on that app. So pretty much anywhere you're going to go in the city, there's going to be people, right? And it notifies them, boop, 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 boop. Like, once somebody posts like, hey, this guy's over here, it'll notify everybody in that area. And then people are bored and they want to fucking do like, oh, let's go, but they do fuck with you. And so far nothing too malicious has happened. A little couple vandalism here and there to my van, shit like that. But some people fucking talking shit. People making false police reports, like trying to get my van impounded, saying that it's abandoned, it's been here for like a week when it actually only been there for a day, shit like that, some malicious shit. But there's gonna come a time where there's gonna be some people, probably some young people, who are gonna be drunk, be like, oh, that's that guy, let's go fuck with them, and they're gonna fuck with you, and it's gonna get violent. They're gonna fucking really like intrude where they shouldn't, and their whole goal is to make you anxious, to make you paranoid. They want you to be paranoid. They want you to believe that they're watching you at all times, even though they're not. One of them will make it appear as if like everybody's in on it, and they want you to be afraid. They want you to be paranoid, and they want you to to move on. But what are you gonna do? It's like I chose just to try to fucking ignore it. And if somebody fucking tries to fuck with me too much, I'll fuck with them back. But it's a kind of a fucked up deal, because these apps could serve a good purpose for the community to help each other and be their eyes and ears and shit, but it also can get fucking snowballed into a witch hunt. It can easily get targeted, and people can abuse it, and it can be kind of a vigilante type shit. It could be a way to fucking troll somebody, pretty fucking hard in real life, and like I said, I go to a city that's 10 miles away, right, a suburb, whatever. I'll be there, and it's usually not me that they recognize, it's the car, right? That's what it usually is, and just for shits and giggles, to see if I could throw them a little bit, I fucking painted my van, right? Didn't work. Worked for a little bit until somebody recognized me, right? But like for every 10 people that recognize my van, only one of those, one person will recognize me. But it's like, I don't know, this gang stalking shit is real. And I do know that in certain parts of the city, they don't like homeless people, right? And they will intentionally fuck with people. And now I do believe these homeless people. I still think a lot of them have been up too long, done too much meth, and are a little too paranoid. But it's real. There are collectively, through these apps, Neighborhood, Neighbor, Crime Watch, Citizen, there's a whole shitload of them, right? There's a network, and they have private groups in these things. They have groups within groups on these apps, right? So that they can do shit without it being seen on the front page. So shit that's borderline illegal, borderline harassment, borderline stalking, can still be done and still be networked into what is, called gang stalking. So that shit is real, and I didn't believe it until it started happening to me. But yeah, it's gonna be weird, because some people are gonna have to take this and reverse it on them. Right? Start filming these people, start making this aware, start doing what they do to you. But the thing is, though, is you're so far outnumbered, even if there's half a dozen people who want to go after these gang stalkers, there's fucking thousands of them. So don't have to scratch my head and figure out how to deal with these people. You know, so there you go. Gang stalking is real. It actually is, and it's done through neighborhood apps. There you go.